What's up, Way of Sports, man? It's Lamont, man. We back. Another podcast video, another reaction for you guys. Today, you guys see the title. You see the thumbnail. We got to talk about it. Again, it's that age-old debate. And again, I want to proceed this year when we really have these GOAT conversations. I want to proceed more this year going into these conversations by taking elements of what the actual pros are saying. I want to hear from the guys that were on the court with the Kobes, the Jordans, and the LeBrons. These are the guys that felt the impact of a lot of these players in the moment. And I think, again, if you are a smart debater, taking these talking points into consideration will just make your arguments for whatever side you choose much stronger. So today we got a video. We're going to be reacting to it. It's Grant Hill. Grant Hill, again, one of the most talented NBA players ever to exist. It's unfortunate that his career was cut short due to injury, but he has a take on the LeBron James and Michael Jordan GOAT conversation. And I actually like his take. We're going to go ahead and react to that video real quick. We're going to play it, and then I'm going to come back with my thoughts. But let's get to Grant Hill and hear what he has to say about the conversation.
You're one of the only people to have ever guarded Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. I'm curious about your perspective of LeBron.
In my opinion, Jordan's the GOAT, but I hate the conversation because in order to justify it, we put down the other. LeBron's incredible. What he has done, the pressure from a very young age, how he's lived up to the expectations, and what he's had to endure that I don't think Michael Jordan had to endure. NBA Twitter, social media, whatever, you didn't see or feel that or hear that back in the day.
And there you have it right there. Grant Hill's take on this. He obviously selected Michael Jordan as the GOAT, but he talked about how these debates have become toxic and marred with just slander towards other players. And I talked about this in a past live, and I talked about when we talk about these great players, the LeBrons, the Jordans, the Kobes, I said, why is it when we talk about these great players who we wouldn't be having these conversations if it wasn't about the great moments, the great things that they've accomplished? I said, why when we go into these conversations, we only find people just going through the history books, digging up every negative moment that they can find on these players, although the majority of these players that we're discussing have more good moments, have more great moments, have more memorable moments than bad. So why do you guys believe that these conversations become convoluted with toxicity? We hear it when you go to other platforms. You hear people digging up LeBron only scored X amount of points in this game, or LeBron let his team down and they lost in this game, or Kobe was inefficient in this game and he sold his team here. And then you on the flip side of that, then you have people digging and searching for Jordan's bad moments, and Jordan choked and sold in 95. That's what it ultimately turns into. And then Grant Hill did a good job of highlighting that. And why can't we compare your greatest and your great moments and your greatest accomplishments to your great moments and your accomplishments, and then talk about the greatness of these players, as opposed to turning it into a contest about who can find more dirt on the other player, who can find or weave crafty angles or narratives towards any particular player that's slanderous, that identifies a flaw in their game. And I think that's the sad reality of a lot of these conversations and debates. And I hope that's something we can clean up moving forward. But ultimately, the reality is, I think when we have these conversations, we deal with so many casuals and so many casual takes that I just don't think people have the wherewithal to actually do real research, actually talk about and then enunciate why any particular player is great and why they feel this level of greatness is better than that level of greatness. And I just don't think a lot of the debaters, a lot of the people, a lot of the casuals in this circuit, and I'm not just really talking about the people that come up to FYF, I'm just talking about in whole. I just don't see this. I just don't see this problem fixing itself because it would take far too much logic, common sense, and reasoning to fix. And unfortunately, in the basketball community, we don't have a ton of that. We have a lot of people that thrive off negativity. They thrive off the slander. And they love turning in these debates into just a contest on who can find more dirt on the other player. And that's ultimately the sad reality that we've come to. But again, these are the things I want you guys to consider as we go into these debates, because we're going to be having a whole another host of debates. Obviously, we're going to come out with more rankings and things of that nature. But as we debate, we're going to be making changes to, kind of the structure, the voting systems and things like that. We might add a few new rules and elements to the debate process. But as we go into this new season of debates, I think we should look at that. And as you approach each debate, how do I go about winning any particular debate? Do I chase the negative? Do I harp on the negative? Do I just try to slander the other player as much as I can to try to win? Or am I going to talk real basketball? Am I going to break down the science of the game? And that's what I like to truly see. I like to really study, talk about the science of the game, talk about what went wrong strategically, talk about what teams did to make if we're talking about great players, ineffective, as opposed to just running circles, running around talking about players choked and players didn't do well. And I just think that's very, very low level basketball talk when people go to that level. When they start to dumb these superstars that we talk about, they try to dumb them down and minimize them based on the mistakes that they make. Although these great players have far more successes than failures on the basketball court. But hey, you guys, keep that in mind. These are things that I want you to think about as we approach a new season of debates that's going to be starting in September. And so, man, if you want to debate, make sure you shoot us an email, fyfsportsdebates@gmail.com. Let us know that you want to get into the circuit and then start coming up to the live panel. Call out anybody or let me know, and I'll try to pair you up with somebody. But you guys, this FYF Sports, man, has been another great podcast episode. We will be back with more sports and news. But until then, it's FYF Sports. And we out.
I'm on no fixer. I'm gon' ball no picker. That I ate doors they live for. Talking on my back, go figure. Whole team eats from spitter. Never was the one to go flicker. No face, no case, no picture. Full place, big stakes, my dinner.